Alright, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahasham, Barakakodash. Peace and blessings to the elect, the listener, learning, the Yakin, Wak Yum. And double honors to the elder apostle, great millstone, and the elder bishops. Much respect to the mighty Gabar Yum on the highways and hedges. Bidding Yashal to the marriage, and to the Gabar making videos of edification with the lost sheep. And salutations to the elect scattered abroad. That be unto the spectral bird. So, Measure Times Energy within itself. I seen a video of Trump, saying that there won't be a World War III. Okay, I believe he said, what did he say? If we're smart, there won't be a World War III, which is just a strong delusion. Okay, we understand that in Isaiah the 55th chapter, I believe verse 11, it says that the Lord's word would not return unto him void, but will accomplish where he sent it, roughly paraphrasing. So Yahweh Bashim Yahushai's word is bond, right? You know how Jake say word is bond, right? So it's gonna happen, right? All these things will happen, man, as it says in Ezekiel 33 and 33. So, Esau truly feels that he can delay or cut off the Lord's judgment, which, as the scripture says, that the Lord shall send them a strong delusion that they should believe a lie. Okay, the book of Psalms, I believe the 2nd chapter, goes into why the heathen rage and imagine a vain thing. Okay, that's a vain thing. All this AI and perfecting it, thinking that it's gonna run the world. You know what I'm saying? It's all vanity. It's all a vain thing. So at the end of the day, World War III will come. Right now they're preaching of peace and safety, right? I believe that's what 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter. It talks about how they should say, peace and safety, and sudden destruction cometh. So that sudden destruction is going to be what? Civil wars and race wars, and then World War III. Okay, the third woe, spoken of in Revelation 11, the 14th chapter. The second woe is past, but the third woe cometh quickly. Okay, so the elect are not going to be deceived, but the simple believe every word. Okay, yeah, everybody wants world peace and blase, 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 blase. But like it says in Jeremiah, it says you will have healed Babylon, but Babylon cannot be healed. Okay, Babylon cannot be healed. The blood of the saints, the blood of the Israelites was spilt on this land, okay? And it has to be cleansed by the blood of those who shed it. Thus saith Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. So, hey, man, they're just trying to delay the inevitable. But at the end of the day, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, right? So Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is controlling all things. And when you think about it, all these said perils that are yet to come, the plagues that come upon the earth, are really for the 2/3, okay? Because the scripture says, to touch not my anointed, do my prophets no harm. So the anointed and the prophets of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai going into the 144,000 and the 1/3, they're going to be preserved from the said perils. They're going to be saved by their faith and works, and see salvation in Yahushai's borders. Okay, this is why we trust in the Lord, man, rather than man. This is why the scripture says, cursed be the man who trusted in man and make flesh his arm. The scriptures talk about how those go down to Egypt for help because they trust in horses. They trust in, the teeth of Esau, which is the military, which Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is going to break. Okay, so all these nations, speaking of peace and safety, is foolishness, man. Vanity. It also tells you in the book of Obadiah that how the Lord should take out all the wisdom of Edom, right? Going back to when Donald Trump said that if we're smart, there won't be a World War III. Well, guess what? You have no wisdom. Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is taken away from you. That's why the country's in shambles. That's why the country's in $1 trillion of debt, right? Wickedness has polluted the whole earth, man. Okay? Spiritual Babylon, spiritual Sodom in Egypt is America. The etymology of America is bitter, okay? This is a bitter place, man. This is why we have to continue to pray for his downfall. Those who sigh and cry for the abominations done in the midst thereof, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is hearing the prayers of the humble and those of a broken-hearted, contrite spirit, man. This is not living, man. Okay? This is surviving. Surviving in a cesspool of wickedness when you're trying to be righteous to the best of your ability. The scriptures talk about how when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Well, guess what? The people are not rejoicing, right? Why? Because the wicked bear a fool. And that's what the people are mourning. People are losing their jobs. Okay? The wicked is trying to perfect AI, not only for an economical takeover, but also for a military takeover. You know, there was I put out a video a while back of these robots that are kickboxing. Okay? So they want to make, you know, the military and law enforcement cybernetics, man. So when they imposed martial law and they had these robotic soldiers and robotic military, that the people who try to resist, you know, will have a much more hard time. Because civil war is imminent. That's spoken in 2nd Ezra the 15th chapter, man. Right? People fighting against friends like enemies, so on and so forth. Great sedition, insurrection, right? Trump was saying that, you know, there's an article of Trump saying that he's considering the Insurrection Act. Well, that's in the scriptures. Okay? Political turmoil. It talks about that. In the Good News translation of 2nd Ezra the 15th chapter. All right? I believe it's the NLT, the NIV, where Yahushua said, you know, a country divided by civil war would not stand. Okay? So all these things are coming to pass, and we see it. There's nothing Esau can do. All right? Yahweh Shemel Shai's word would not turn to him void. So this is why we can continue to pray for the downfall of this wicked place, man. All right? The abominations, we're sick of them. And we're going to continue to pray for this downfall and continue for these curses to come upon our enemies who have hated us and persecuted us, as it says in Deuteronomy 30:7. Okay? Deuteronomy 30:7. You know, we're looking for a world that dwelleth righteousness, man. We're sick and tired of the wicked in power. We're sick and tired of the heathen imagining vain things and being filled with crafty devices and hiding their counsel away from the Lord, which they think they are. You know, all these unrighteous decrees. The scriptures talk about how the wicked can't even sleep unless they cause many to fall. Okay? They do this from sun up to sundown. They're crooked because the Lord made them that way, right? Like the scripture says, consider the work of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Who can make straight what the Lord made crooked? So the wicked are always going to dabble in wickedness, man. And this is why the world is the way it is. Because the wicked bear rule. Okay? The vilest men are exalted. That's why the wicked walk on every side. An unwise king destroyed this people. This is why the people are like this, man. People don't know if they were born a man or a woman, right? They want to be squirrels. They want to be clouds and shit. Identify as a cloud. This place is a cesspool of wickedness and confusion, man. And the wicked want to prolong. This is why they're talking about, oh, there's going to be peace and safety, man. But I believe what Ezekiel, the seventh chapter, talks about how they shall seek peace and safety, but shall not be able to find it, roughly paraphrasing. Because Yahushua is coming to bring a sword upon the earth. Okay? Yahweh told Yahushua to wait until he makes his enemies his footstool. And what does the Lord do to his enemies? If you read Deuteronomy, I think it's the 32nd chapter. Correct me if I'm wrong, Akim. But he talks about how, you know, he's going to whet his glittering sword and his hand take hold on judgment, and he's going to slay his enemies and all those who hate him. Roughly paraphrasing. Okay, so this is a bloodbath. What does it say about how Yahushua coming from Basra with dyed garments, man? That means blood. His garments were red as if he was in the wine press, man. Okay? So Yahweh wants blood, and Yahushua wants blood. That's why it tells us in Joel the third chapter about how all these heathen nations will come together and the Lord will plead for his people. So it's going to have all the nations war with each other. Okay? Because they strove against the Lord. So they're all going to go into the so-called Middle East. Yahweh Shabbat, as it says in Joel the 3rd chapter, that means the Lord's judgment. Okay? They're all going to fight each other and they're all going to perish. And those who remain, what's going to happen? Yahushua is going to crack them skies, man, and wipe them all away with just a word. I believe that's in 2nd Esdras, the book of 2nd Esdras. It talks about that. Okay? How Ezra saw the chariot the size of a mountain. Okay? And all the nations stopped fighting against each other and tried to fight against the Lord, but the Lord just opened his mouth, man, and blast of hail and fire. It's not hail, but fire, okay, and smoke, so on and so forth, man. So, hey, like the scripture says, man, Revelation 11:14, the second woe is past, but the third woe cometh quickly. Thus saith Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. And the righteous, okay, we're rooting for this, man. We're waiting for this, man. To see the fall of our enemy, okay? To be in peace, to be placed in our homeland and to be in peace. The scripture says when the Lord places his people back in the homeland, the world will war no more. Okay? So if those people in the Holy Land are the true people, why are we engaging in wars? Why are they still fighting a war against Hamas, right? Something's not adding up. It's because they're not the Israelites. So we need this third world war. We need this place to be destroyed, man. The scriptures talk about how all the elements shall melt with fervent heat. That's coming from a thermonuclear destruction, which when that war hits, okay, all the nations that were confederate with America, as it says in Obadiah 1:7, I believe, right? They're gonna all come after America and Israel. So we're talking about a multitude of nuclear missiles hitting this place, man. And it's gonna be rolled up like a scroll. Okay? The mushroom cloud, all right, it's gonna cause earthquakes and it's gonna move the waters, right? It talks about that. So on and so forth. So hey, continue to pray for the destruction and the downfall of Babylon, man. Okay? Thus saith the Lord, there will be a World War III. So just something quick to the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Praise Yahweh edified. We give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashim Kagadash. Shalom.